Hello everyone, welcome into another episode of the Run Your Day podcast. As always, Dan Hafner here, joining you this morning. Another great episode planned for you inside of the theme of acceptance. Today's topic is this: don't accept circumstances. As always, thank you for joining. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's podcast.
Welcome to the Run Your Day podcast, where our goal is to expand your focus and perspective on life. This is your daily dose of motivation, mindfulness, and so much more. And now, here to help you take your day back, your host, Dan Hafner.
Okay, everyone, welcome in again to the show. Going to talk about how not to accept circumstances, which in itself might seem a little ironic since the theme of the week is acceptance, and here I am telling you to not accept something. So let me explain. It'll all make sense here shortly. So inside of this theme, yesterday we talked a lot about self-acceptance and how to be more happy with yourself and the circumstances that you are in. But today I want to talk about the kind of the opposite of that, right? I want to talk about how there are situations and circumstances in all of our lives that we might not be happy with and we might not want to accept any longer. Like, there are certain things inside of my life that I know, inside of your life probably as well, that you have gotten to the point where you just cannot accept this as reality and as fact anymore. It beats you down. It makes you tired. It makes you just sick to your stomach. It gives you all kinds of negative feelings that you just don't want to deal with anymore. And although I talked a lot about yesterday, like how to be okay with where things are, how to kind of accept that, like, hey, this is where I'm at and this is what it has to be and that's just what it is. There are those one-off situations. These were the ones that I'm talking about, where the status quo is just no longer getting it done for you, or there's just some kind of situation in your life that you just cannot stand and you know that something needs to be done about it. And whether this is inside of your fitness, inside of a business, your job, a relationship, parenting, whatever it might be, we all have these situations in which we need to stop accepting where we are going with this, what we are doing, and start down a path that will actually change that. And the only way to change that is through action. Okay? So, to illustrate this point a little bit better, I'm actually going to bring in the one and only Mrs. Hafner here. My wife is going to join me here, and we're going to talk a little bit about a situation that we just got involved in, and it's really helped us as well as far as our circumstances. So, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Dosalyn.
She's so modest, my beautiful wife. So, the situation that we are now involved in was we just got a new bed. It's a sleep number, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so it's pretty sweet. It's one of the cool ones that like goes up with the. We're actually in it right now, doing this podcast from here. It's pretty fun. And it's one of those ones that basically it has the different, sleep number settings, the firmness or softness of it, and it goes up and down. It's got the whole works, right? Like we went big on this one. But the reason why we did this was because we had a situation and a circumstance that was no longer working for us, right? Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
So we had this mattress that I bought when I moved for medical school, and then when he moved in with me, that's when we continued to use it, but I preferred that softer mattress, and over time he developed more and more back pain. He'd wake up in the mornings always complaining that his back hurt, blamed the mattress, says when he sleeps on other ones his back doesn't hurt. But for me, I didn't like the old firm mattress he had, so the more we thought about it, we decided we needed a bed that had the option to have 2 different levels of firmness, softness, so we could both be happy and comfortable sleeping and not have to compromise.
Yeah, exactly. And like I remember it got to the point where like I would wake up every single day and like my back would just hurt, right? And like you heard me complain about this all the time, right?
Excessively.
Excessively, yes. So really, like ever since we've got this, and we've only had it a couple days now, like what would you say by taking this action? What would you say has been like a couple of the biggest changes from it?
Well, for one, you're happy because your back doesn't hurt when you wake up. So another issue is that I probably have sleep apnea and need to get checked out for that. So lifting the head of the bed we thought might help. I don't think the first night it did, but maybe last night it did.
Oh yeah, it definitely helped.
Definitely felt more refreshed despite only getting like 6 hours of sleep last night.
Yeah, I mean it definitely helped. So really, like this is kind of like a silly little example that we just kind of thought of here on the fly, but it really is applicable, right? Because there was just this situation and this circumstance that we had been dealing with for so long, even like to the point of years, and we got used to it. It was the status quo. It was just accepted as normal, and that's how these things seep into our lives, right? They just become normal day after day after day when we're willing to accept that these things are just the way that it is in our life. And what I challenge you to do today is to really sit back and take a look at any aspect of your life, whether it's your fitness, your relationship, a business, a job, career, whatever it might be, and think of one situation. It can be super specific or it can be bigger term or large term, whatever you want to call it. And think about a situation or circumstance that you are no longer willing to accept, that you just, you can't deal with anymore. Something has to change, something has to give. Think of that situation and commit to doing at least one thing to change that today. It doesn't have to be massive action. It doesn't have to be buying a new bed. It doesn't have to be all kinds of other crazy stuff. It can be something small. But the point that I'm trying to get across is that you don't have to always accept the circumstances as they are right now. Like everything changes for a reason, and you don't have to accept things as they are at all times, because eventually things will change, things will get better, it will become a new normal, and you might even run into situations down the road that you might want to change drastically again. Okay, so that is my challenge for you today. So again, this is going to wrap up the show. I thank you again all for joining. I really appreciate you guys every day. And a special thank you goes out to my wife for being the first official, I guess non-official guest on the podcast. Do you wanna say anything to the folks before we sign off, Dosalyn?
It was fun joining you on your podcast. Hopefully I'll do it again sometime. Thanks for listening, everybody. I know this podcast means a lot to my husband, and he appreciates all of his listeners, so thank you.
Well, thank you very much, my lovely wife. I look forward to having you on here again someday soon. All right, yeah, so everybody, that's going to wrap up today's show. Again, thank you all for joining. Be sure to check out my new Facebook page, Run Your Day. I will post these episodes on the wall there, so you can feel free to listen to them through there. Comment any challenge responses you have to those, engage with the page, engage with others on the page, and really just start to hold each other accountable for these. So again, thank you very much for joining, and we will talk to you next time on the Run Your Day podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Run Your Day podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, feel free to share today's show with friends and family. Until next time, have a great day.